going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and we got some interesting stuff to talk about today. It's a pretty light news day. It's a pretty light news week, if I'm honest, which is why there was no State of Wrestling, that and the fact that I was really burnt out, and the fact that we're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about next week. But we got a couple stories here to talk about, and I thought I'd just take some time and banter back and forth with you guys, and very, very quickly, we will see why I'm much, much better with a co-host. Shout out to my buddy Jake. We will be doing at least 2, if not 3, previews next week. Also, while I'm at it, I want to shout out everybody on Twitter that got back to me yesterday. I finally decided to dive in and see what the fuss is about, 11 years too late, and check out Lucha Underground. And I'm an episode and a half in, and it's already weird, and I like it, and I'm already kicking myself in the ass for not checking it out 11 years ago when it was a thing. It's a lot of fun. I don't know if I'll come up and talk about it because I doubt you guys are going to want to hear about what I have to say 11 years after the fact. I'm sure everything that's to be said about it has already been said, but yeah, I just threw it out to the wrestling universe and I said I've never seen a lick of Lucha Underground, and does anybody have any places that I can get it from? And I had 10, 15 different people give me various suggestions. I'm not going to tell you which one of those suggestions actually worked because I appreciate all your help equally. So if you did respond to that post, if you did like that post, or I saw a couple other people saying, like, I don't know, but they retweeted it anyway, hey, can we help Spaz out type thing, that's really cool. Really do appreciate it. It's really cool to see a positive thing on X other than the usual tribal bullshit. Now, if I was to say that we are in a pretty meteoric women's division rise in WWE at the moment. Not everything is perfect. Yes, the tag titles are still kind of a joke. It's fine. But, in general, when you talk about the moving pieces on the board, when you talk about the fact that we have Evolution coming up in a couple of weeks and people are mad about it because counter-programming and blah, 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 blah. But let's just look at the solid rosters that we have, plus the fact that Charlotte and Becky just made their returns, plus the rumors are still out there of Paige coming back and possibly even AJ Lee, which would be awesome. And we just got another influx from NXT, Roxanne Perez going to Raw, Julia going to SmackDown, Stephanie Vacour being announced for this upcoming week's Raw, and I'm assuming we're going to get some kind of announcement about Jordynne Grace on SmackDown on the go-home show heading into Money in the Bank, but we'll see where that goes. Kind of a bummer that she's not going to be in Money in the Bank, considering she's kicked ass at Ultimate X before, but that's another story for another day. But that is a huge chunk in the last couple of months. Roxanne Perez, Stephanie Vacour, lost my train of thought now. Roxanne Perez, Stephanie Vacour, Julia, and Jordynne Grace. We're all there for a cup of coffee. We all knew that they were only there for a cup of coffee. It's fine. The shock win this past week on NXT of Jordynne Grace, taking the title off of Stephanie Vacour after Jordynne Grace failed in her attempt to get it at Battleground. You're grounded, Battlegrounded, but Mom, if you're a What Culture fan. Jordynne Grace in a losing effort and then going up to the main roster. Stephanie Vacour losing, but not in terrible, horrible fashion, like triple teams and all that sort of stuff in a shock win on NXT for a Jacy Jayne who has been grinding her ass since she got to NXT and probably does deserve it. Let's be fair for a second. But there's a huge chunk been taken out of NXT. There's always more room on the main roster as well. We've got other stuff to do. We trade people back and forth with TNA. Obviously, the AAA stuff is happening now. So there's always room for more, and I want to see, the Julias versus the Charlottes. I want to see the Stephanie Vacours versus the Becky Lynches. I want to see a couple more rounds of Roxanne Perez versus Rhea Ripley. What I really want to see is Rhea Ripley versus Jordynne Grace, but that's, again, another story for another day. But there's always room for more, and especially now there'll be room in NXT. Now, where can we get them from? We can get them from all kinds of places. I would love, I would love a couple of the ladies in TNA, specifically Masha Slamovich, Tasha Steelz, to maybe hop over when the time is right, if the move is right for them, and all the typical precursors that we have to put on it. But we do have to look over to the other side of the fence to the people that think that they are still competition and see who we could pick up over there. who's done over there, who's made a conscious decision to leave there, and who doesn't seem like they're having a good time while they're there. Those are three different descriptions for three different stories that we're about to talk about today. Now, the first one isn't very much. It's reporting on a tweet, which is not the biggest thing in the world, but if you're saying something that could be construed as negative towards your company and you decided to put it in public forum, it bothered you enough to say something. It's one of those. DEONNA PURRAZZO is a very interesting case, because just as I was starting to get into Impact, as it was getting ready to become TNA again, we saw I saw my first match of Roxanne Perez's, formerly Roxy. Roxy dropped the ROH title to DEONNA PURRAZZO on a TNA show because she was about to go to NXT. Very convoluted, I know. When DEONNA PURRAZZO was doing the champ thing, when she was the ROH champion and the TNA champion, before, you know, AEW came along and gobbled up ROH. But she was the person. I mean, Jordynne Grace took the torch from her and ran with it, and now I think Masha Slamovich has taken the torch from her and she's ran with it. But DEONNA PURRAZZO was the talent, the knockout, the women's division head in TNA for so long, and everybody, rightfully so by the way, looked at NXT/WWE and said, how did you drop the ball with her? How did you let a talent like this go? Which is absolutely true. WWE, NXT, however they lost DEONNA PURRAZZO in the shuffle from the small time that she was in NXT. Fumble on their part. You know, we talk about the Tony Fumble Rumble. I gotta be fair. That's a big fumble by WWE. Have you seen DEONNA PURRAZZO wrestle? She's fantastic. When Matthew Raywalt was her manager for a little bit, and that was a lot of fun as well, and then continued to kind of be her hype man from commentary when he transitioned to commentary. But she debuted in 2024. Her appearances on television are very, very few and far between. I'm getting this from SE Scoops, by the way, but it's just a tweet on Twitter. But a Twitter user, an ex-user by the name of LaRon Ford, I don't know if that's somebody from some kind of dirt sheet or whether that's just somebody online. There's no context given, so I have to be upfront about the fact that there's no context given. Are you pulling up to Dynamite tonight? Maybe during picture-in-picture, probably, is her response. The comment was wildly interpreted as shade towards AEW, as it didn't go unnoticed by Thunder Rosa, who threw up an exaggerated couple of question marks, etc. I like Thunder Rosa, but sometimes she just tosses in at the wrong time. Thunder Rosa's another one. I'd love to have her in WWE. They wanted her to be a coach. Wasn't it? It was like her and Serena Deeb. They wanted one of them to be a ref and one of them to be a coach. WWE, back then, what were you fucking doing? She's previously pitched all kinds of ideas to AEW management, no creative plans of service. I think she was doing something with Taya Valkyrie for a little bit on Collision, but let's be real, nobody watches Collision. The last time she appeared was February 26th episode of Dynamite, where she took a loss to Harley Cameron, and she hasn't been seen since. While I'm stealing this right from SE Scoops, while she remains under contract, it remains to be seen when PURRAZZO, a former prominent Knockouts champion, will be back on our TV at all. Now, again I say, it's just a comment on Twitter. It could be nothing, but it is a comment that has basis in legitimate questions. She can carry a division. I'm sorry, but she's better than Sasha Banks. She is. I'd like to see her mixing it up with people like Chris Statlander, like Willow Nightingale, like Toni Storm, the actual champ in that company that's deserving of being a champion. It's not much. It's I'm not going to blow it up to being more than just a post that she put out on X, because it's Twitter at the end of the day, isn't it? And anybody can say anything they want on Twitter. But it is very reminiscent of words that we've heard recently from Scorpio Sky, to the effect of, yeah, I don't know what they're doing with me. I guess they don't have anything for me. Just to let you guys all know, I am healthy. I am clear. There's nothing wrong with me. There's no bar to entry. I guess I'll see you whenever I see you type thing. But he made a point in an interview multiple times of saying, yeah, there's nothing keeping me from wrestling. I'm good to go. I just haven't been. And that's eerily reminiscent of the quotes that we used to get from a certain Ricky Starks, now Ricky Saints, who went on, I think it was Andrew Pollard of What Culture, if I'm correct. Somebody correct me down in the box below if I'm not correct, that interviewed him and said, why aren't you on TV? He's like, I don't know why I'm not on TV. There's no reason. I'm perfectly fine. I'm perfectly healthy. There's nothing wrong with me. I don't know. And then Tony Khan responded with, oh, I'd love to have him on TV. Well, that's kind of your choice. So all these people are all kind of saying the same thing. There's nothing wrong with me. There's no reason I'm not on TV. I'm cleared. I'm medically fine, whatever, from Ricky Saints. Similar from Scorpio Sky. And now you have Deonna Purrazzo out here saying, like, if you see me on TV, it'll probably be during a commercial break, which is a double-sided thing, because A, she's saying if I'm even on TV, and B, she's saying, well, you know, we know that there's only one women's match per Dynamite, and that usually gets gobbled up by a commercial break. So that is a comment on her situation, but it's also a comment on the women's situation in general. They only get one match a night. We know this. WWE puts more women's content on their Saudi Arabia shows, and they're about to do Evolution. Tony literally has no excuse. But I think it's kind of cool that in one comment there, she's sort of talking about her own situation and the presentation of the women's division in general. Would I love to have Deonna Purrazzo back? Yes. The problem being, right now, is where we need people is NXT, and if she came back and was slotted back into NXT, there would be some pretty valid criticism of she was in NXT way back then, and she came all the way back, and you put her back in NXT. The same thing that people are trying to say about Shawn Spears, even though Shawn Spears has said multiple times, I wanted to go to NXT, I'll wrestle in NXT, but I want to have this backstage role, helping other people, etc. Now, if Deonna Purrazzo wanted to do that, that's absolutely fine. That's admirable. But I'd love to see her get the big stage she deserved. When she moved from TNA to AEW, and she even defended the ROH title against Mercedes Martinez, I believe it was, on Dynamite, before she actually signed with AEW. And I kind of had to play both sides of the fence here, because on the one side of the coin, TNA is awesome. They're really coming up. People that are saying that they're not are strange. But TNA is not as big a stage as AEW is. I'm a fan of Deonna Purrazzo. I'd love to see her on a bigger stage. Bummer that it's not WWE, but hey, bigger stage for her. And then they just didn't feature her in the slightest at all. Would I see her on Raw or SmackDown? Yeah, but that's where all the influx from NXT just went. She'd be an invaluable asset. She can carry a division. She can carry a in the mid-card division, that'd be awesome. Probably getting Julia versus Zelina Vega. Zelina Vega still getting a lot of unsolicited, unnecessary hate from people for random reasons. They just gave you a title so that they could hire your husband back. Cool. They started that with Chelsea Green, so why isn't Matt Cardona in WWE? Exactly. Just don't be dicks. Zelina Vega got to have a happy moment and finally got to carry a title in WWE. It's not that deep. She's going to face Julia. She's probably going to lose it to Julia. But, I mean, let's see later on down the road, Julia versus Deonna Purrazzo to put a little bit more oomph behind that U.S. title. Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. You know what is the worst thing in the world? When you leave a company and it's not your choice. Now, I have to be clear before everybody bites my head off. This was not a release. This was not a firing. This was not a get your shit and get out type of situation. This was somebody's contract coming to an end and not being renewed. But the fact remains, somebody puts 5 years into a company and the company says, we're done with you. It's still heartbreaking, as they've said, as we're going to get to in a second. It's still heartbreaking. It's still, hey, this is still where I want to be, and you're telling me I'm not going to be there anymore. Abaddon. Now, for one, I want to cover two things right off the bat. A, I'm going to be biased. I really like creepy gimmicks. I really like haunted gimmicks. I really like supernatural gimmicks and all that kind of thing. So I am going to be biased. This is a gimmick that's right up my street. It's a character type that's right up my street. So, of course, I want Abaddon. Second of all, it's been covered by a lot of other people as far as terminology goes, as far as, proper addressing and all that kind of thing. I've heard Abaddon referred to as she, and I've heard Abaddon referred to as they. I don't know what the proper one is, so if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I'm going to try and tiptoe around that so that I'm not just being a dickhead for the sake of being a dickhead. But Abaddon took to X with a big, like, not a post, but like a photo of a post explaining the situation. My time with AEW is coming to an end. My contract expires in June and it will not be renewed. The emotions I'm currently trying to manage are incredibly difficult and full of conflict as I reflect on my time here being AEW. Obviously, my goal is to not let this be it for me, but because I love because I love wrestling just so much, I've put a lot of hard work in, and now I want to be able to showcase myself more often. Well, my heart is currently broken, and you can bet I'm still going to show up to train for work the next day. If you're looking to book me, you can send an email, and the email is like bookabadon@gmail.com with a thank you, with a couple of green hearts, etc. Now, I get it. A gimmick like Abadon isn't for everybody. A gimmick like Abadon is one of those, we've got too many of those in WWE. And it's like, well, nobody ever says we've got too many submission wrestlers in WWE. Nobody ever says we've got too many strikers. Nobody ever says we've got too many high flyers in AEW. Nobody ever says we don't have too many dickhead EVPs, etc. There's a place in WWE, and specifically in NXT, for somebody like Abadon. If they were still a thing, if Chemical X were still a thing, if we still had Shotzi and Gigi Dolan along with Tatum Paxley, Abadon could have slotted very easily into Chemical X, and they could have been this massive, like, spooky goth faction picking up, like, mid-card titles or whatever the case may be. With Shotzi not being there anymore, Abadon would be a shoo-in to debut at something like a Halloween Havoc or something like that, and just create not only like a scary gimmick, but like an unpredictable, off the wall type of character. Now we have Nikki Cross as part of the Wyatt Six on the main roster. We don't really have anybody like that unless you want to stretch the boundaries and include Tatum Paxley. But also, the really fun thing about all this, you throw her, or sorry, I don't mean throw, but like you bring in Abadon to NXT, there's the TNA collaborative stuff that's going on as well, and you're going to tell me that take a match type like a Monsters Ball, for example, you're going to tell me that Abadon versus Rosemary wouldn't be a lot of fun, as if they were not two characters made for each other. They teamed up Rosemary and Spooky Chew as a tag team for a little bit, which was fine because Rosemary is a spooky character and Spooky Chew was like the spooky version of Wendy Chew, and it kind of worked, but they were going up against MK Ultra, who are killers. One of them has killer in the name. It's fine. This is super selfish of me. It's mentioned right here in the post. I'm going to try my best to make sure this isn't the end for me. Book Abadon somewhere. I put it out on Twitter. I said, WWE, NXT, TNA, Destiny. Check it off your Spaz Phoenix bucket list. It's fine. MLP. I'll go to the show. It'll be a lot of fun. But book Abadon. We never saw Abadon. If there was a thing of like, here's this spooky gimmick, and we saw it all the time, and it got really played out, and it got really repetitious, and all that sort of thing, then it would be different. Then we could say, it tried and failed. It could be like the Boogeyman, or it could be this and that and the next thing, something that somebody got really sick of, or, the people that pretend that Undertaker and Kane were never good. Oh, we saw them way too much. That's one thing. You hardly ever saw Abadon unless they were doing some kind of Halloween episode of Dynamite. And if you've got this gimmick that could work all year, you got people like me that like these type of gimmicks more than one day a year. You got people like me who wish it was Halloween more than one day a year. So just do it, man. And everybody else you're bringing over, etc. Like Julia, I'm gonna keep saying the same names over and over and over again. Paige, AJ Lee, Julia, Stephanie Vacour, Charlotte and Becky returning, Jordan Grace throwing herself into the mix. Those are people all jet set for the main event. Abadon could be your mid-card. Abadon could be the monster of your mid-card. Imagine unstoppable women's North American champion Abadon. Who's going to topple the monster? There's a spot for that. There really is, and I think it's being overlooked among other, WWE let a lot of people go recently, and we really like this person, we really like that person, that's just our cup of tea. And you've got somebody here who's pouring their heart out on social media, which is their own choice, but you got this person that's really, really dedicated and really, really into what they're doing, and I think it's for the most part being glossed over because, it's not a thing that's really my thing. And I think that's really unfortunate. I really hope WWE does scoop up Abadon for NXT, and if not, then go the other way around, have TNA scoop up Abadon, and you still get some crossover with NXT, and I still get some of the fun matches that I want to see. Because you want to see want to see Abaddon face other weird, you know, Jessica Havoc and Rosemary and these type of people, but you want to see regular, there I go, I'm doing it myself, regular people, like a Kalani Jordan, like a, you know, Jada Parker, like a Lash Legend, who are going to play that atypical role of, oh my god, what is this? How am I dealing with this? Her versus Zarya would kick ass. I'm just saying, it's a lot of fun. Some things can just be fun, some things can just be weird. Do the Simon Miller thing, goofy wrestling for life. Hire Abaddon. Hashtag hire Abaddon. Hashtag hire DEONNA PURRAZZO when her contract comes up as well. Speaking of contracts being up and people not going back to AEW, it's been rumored for a while. I haven't really said anything because she's a great wrestler, but I don't know what else to say about her, is MARIAH May. MARIAH May has left AEW, and the rumors are that she's going to WWE. As I am pulling from No DQ, who then pulled from Mike Johnson of PW Insider. MARIAH May was removed from the AEW website this afternoon, which usually means somebody has departed the company and is free and clear to go anywhere else. We can confirm that we've heard from WWE sources over the last week that she's expected to start there in the near future. Near future, to me, immediately resonates as a surprise debut at something like an Evolution. Because furthermore, WrestleVotes added in the following. A month ago, we noted that WWE was prepared to make MARIAH May an outstanding offer. Whatever that offer is, looks to have been enough. It seems like the deal is done. There was previous reports in the past, and I'm going to forget because I didn't pull it up just now. I'm totally cheating with a bunch of notes on my screen. Somebody a little while ago had reported that they were already putting like massive main event plans or booking scenarios in place as if they already had her. Here's the thing, MARIAH May is awesome. All the stuff that she did with Toni Storm in AEW was awesome. I've talked about Toni Storm quite a bit. The gimmick that she does, the timeless thing, the black and white actress thing, isn't for me. I go back to the Abaddon analogy here. It's not for me, but god damn, you gotta respect how much Toni Storm throws into that act. And by extension, what she did with MARIAH May, playing the obsessed, fangirl who eventually was doing the impressions. Nobody likes this comparison, but she was kind of doing a female Damien Mizdow type thing, where, Timeless Toni was doing the Timeless Toni thing, so she came out as the old rocker Toni, and then they did the turn, and then they did the fairy tale ending? No, fairy tale ending is Ciampa's finisher. The Hollywood ending, which was awesome, big bloody mess and whatever. Until you realize that somebody put up a post from that match, and it's her just laid out on the stage all bloody and defeated and whatnot, and it just said, this is the last time we saw her on AEW TV. So you basically killed her on the way out. Which is fine, which is one way to do it, which is one way to go, etc. Literally, they did it with the Mafia in NXT when they got rid of 2 Dimes. But I was reliably informed that was a terrible way to write somebody off when they had Ricochet squashed through a car. So let's be a little bit fair. Now, that being said, MARIAH May radiates everything you want. She radiates star. She radiates, presence, aura, all those words that we throw around. The unfortunate thing about it is, and this is not her fault, this is not a downgrading of her performance, her ability, her wrestling skill, etc. I kind of have a singular view of her because her entire run in AEW was, I'm friends with Toni Storm, I'm partners with Toni Storm, I'm fighting Toni Storm, I've got Toni Storm's title, and now Toni Storm beat me for the title. So she's tied so inextricably to that, and it's a little bit of the criticism that I have for the earlier days of Hangman and Hangman and Kenny Omega. Because it was, we're the elite, we're buddies, we're this, we're that, we're tag team champions, we beat our buddies to get the tag team champions, and then we lost them, and then we fought, and then I went away and knocked up my wife, and I came back, and we're buddies, and we still fight, and do something else. And it's not, and again, this is not a dig at MARIAH May or her abilities in any way, shape, or form, but as far as who's making the booking decisions, etc., do something else, because you can have the widest range in the world, and I think Mariah May does, but you only get so much range out of a person if you see them fighting a range of people. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? People, I mean, there's tribal people on the WWE side too, just not as many as AEW. There were people on the WWE side of things that were calling her discount Tiffany Stratton and whatever, but those same people called Tiffany Stratton discount Charlotte Flair, and then we got Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair, and it was a lot of fun. So Mariah May versus Tiffany Stratton for the WWE Women's Championship, somewhere along the way, fast track her to the top, whereas somebody like Abaddon could build out your midsection, whereas somebody like Deonna Purrazzo could build up your midsection. As I say, Am I selfish? Am I biased? Am I all of those things because I am loving specifically the women's division in WWE right now? Yes. Do I want to have all the things? Yes. Do I want to have all the toys in my crib or whatever other accusations get thrown our way? Yes. Yes, I do. Because you don't want people ending up like Athena. I'm just saying, if there's one more thing I could wish for, if it was one more thing I could wish for, and if she's happy, then I'm happy for her. Don't get me wrong. Just like Abaddon, just like Deonna Purrazzo, just like Mariah May, just like Paige may be coming back, just like AJ Lee may be coming back. You never want to tell wrestlers what to do. But if we ever get to a point where Athena looks at Tony Khan and says, I am the person holding up your little brand over here that's behind the paywall that nobody's watching. I am the one that people are tuning in to see, and the only time you brought me onto the big show was to get steamrolled by Mercedes Moné, lose my undefeated streak, and go back down to ROH. Go fuck yourself. I'm going to go where the women's division is actually a women's division and thrive from there. The win will be complete. It will be about as good. It'll be the women's division equivalent of if and when we get a WrestleMania main evented by CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. Now, I don't want to bring the guys into this because this is a video or a pod or whatever you want to call this output that I'm doing here based in the women's division specifically because that's where I think the win is and that's where I think the fall down is in AEW. But you've got Deonna Purrazzo, who's there, wants to wrestle, isn't being given the opportunity. You've got Abaddon, who was there for time as well, never got used, and just got their walking papers. You got Mariah May, who's in a position to say, my contract is up, and I'm fucking off elsewhere. Like, you got three different stages of the AEW realization, and you know what? You know what it is? I'd love all of them to come to NXT. NXT over WWE even. Like I say, Deonna Purrazzo, there's a slightly different argument to be made about, like, she was in NXT years ago. Why is she still in NXT? And that's a perfectly valid argument, by the way, and I'll toss that out there right off the top. It's a perfectly valid argument, but I still think she could add a lot to the division. When you've got a lot of the experience just left NXT, Deonna Purrazzo could provide that, but she could also worry about herself and do a career for herself. More is more in this case. The storylines and whatnot of each brand coming together. Evolution is going to change a lot of things. They're going to put all their new toys on display at Evolution 2, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but Evolution is going to have Jordynne Grace on it. It's going to have Stephanie Vacour on it. It's going to have Julia on it. It's going to have Roxanne Perez on it. If we get Mariah May, it's going to have Mariah May on it. If we get Abaddon, I bet it has Abaddon on it. If we get Deonna Purrazzo, I don't know what her contract status is, but I don't think Tony Khan knows what her contract status is. She'd be on Evolution as well. And the other danger is when you get all the new toys, when you know new big names and faces make the final realization and come home to roost on the A show, don't forget about the ones that have been there the whole time. I'm just saying. Jade Cargill's still new. Do something with her in Evolution as well. But let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about Deonna Purrazzo speaking out her frustrations a little bit. Let me know about how you feel about Abaddon's release, let go, non-renewal, whatever you want to call it. Pretty much signed, sealed, and delivered that Mariah May has chosen WWE. We just haven't seen her there yet. Let me know what you think about all of it. Let me know what you think in general, though. take a minute from all this. Let me know what you think in general, specifically about the women's division of all three branches of WWE at the moment. I'd really be interested to hear what all you guys think. We're in a really, really exciting time in general, but also specifically for women's wrestling if you are a WWE fan. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.